What's the craziest blackout drunk experience you've ever been told you've done? Got completely destroyed on an impromptu pub crawl. Woke up in another country. Apparently the ferry from Stockholm to Turku is perfectly fine with borderline comatose passengers booking tickets and boarding. They said I bought a hot tub online worth about $600. Checked my Amazon and found out they were right. I apparently once lifted a couch cushion like it was a toilet seat, then proceeded to vomit into the toilet, closed the lid, and went to sleep on the toilet. My grandmother's cousin did something like this while sleepwalking, except she peed under the couch. What an exceptionally strong grandmother's cousin, lifting up the whole couch. Pissed on my friend's suitcase, and when I was confronted mid-pee I justified it by claiming I was just pissing on this vacuum. Don't worry. My friend walked into another friend's bedroom and started peeing all over his bed and him while I was sitting in the next room. When the guy wakes up freaking out, the other guys is like shhh, don't worry, it's just a little bit. God damn it. I've lived this. Walked in on my friend pissing on the corner of my bed and also my backgammon set. He was annoyed that I walked in on him. Another time, I walked in on the same guy pissing in the bathroom sink. I woke in bed with a very large bowl of spaghetti bolognese spilled under the covers with me. Keep it in your pockets. Man, it isn't a party unless someone has pocket spaghetti. Arrived home. Took off my jeans in my kitchen, but put my shoes back on. Then proceeded to head to bed. As I passed my dad's room, he was on his way to the bathroom and asked where my jeans were. I looked down and began to have a miniature panic attack because I thought I had left them in the taxi on my way home, along with my belongings. This has happened a number of times. In Norway we have this tradition called russ, where the graduate students dress up in red, blue, black or white pants, drinking for 17 days, May 1st, 17, close bracket, and we have exams as well. I woke up drunk with a bottle of vodka under my teacher's desk. On my exam day, I do not really remember it that well, but the teacher let me take the exam. Some friends told me that we were in some girl's Russ van, drinking the whole night, and that they dropped me outside the school 1 hour before the exam. How did the exams go? I did not pass. Trying this year. I once passed out in the middle of the road in the fetal position and was nearly run over by a woman delivering newspapers. The woman stopped and tried waking me up, but I was unresponsive. When the cops arrived they were able to wake me up, and when I was asked how much I had to drink, I simply responded, "You're looking at it." The police then charged me with disorderly conduct and took me home. I had no recollection of what fully happened until it was in the newspaper. We had a company Christmas party that ended up at a local bar one year when I was in my 20s. Most of us had significant others or friends who drove us home, but one of my coworkers didn't. I had left the bar around midnight, but apparently after the bar closed at 2, he drunkenly stumbled to his truck, got in, and cranked the actor full blast again. This is at Christmas time. There's snow on the ground. The cops who were outside the bar walked up to his truck and told him to roll the windows down. One of them says, "You've got the act on full blast. Are you hot?" My coworker replies, "That's my radio, motherfucker." He spent the night in jail. Cut someone in line for pizza in New Orleans and they wanted to fight me, but I was too oblivious to even know someone was trying to fight me. I remember the pizza line, but not the danger. I was on acid in Tampa and we found a mall to walk through. At one point, I had an empty cup and needed to throw it away, and I see a garbage can maybe 20-30 yards away. I didn't know it at the time, but there were a bunch of gangster looking Latino dudes hanging out at the can area. I rolled up on them with such urgency that they thought I was there to start shit. Some giant dude got right in my face and said some shit in Spanish, but all I could think of was getting my cup in the can. I did a juke move to the left, spun to my right and two-hand dunked the cup like Shaq hanging on the rim. I was so pleased with myself that I had my arms up the whole walk back to my friend, who was staring into the water fountain for the whole show. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to fight, or be scared, or apologize or something. I dunno, but I still wonder what he said to me. and just how gangster I was when it didn't even stop me from posting him up and dunking on him. The whole thing registered about 2 hours later, and I realized I could have gotten hurt before I knew there was an issue. One time I woke up and bitched at my friends for all eating jello shots without me. Then they politely informed me that they didn't have any, and I ate all of them. I hopped on a bus to Kansas because, and this was quoted back to me when I called my brother for help getting back, I want to find out if there's more corn in that shithole than Iowa. Apostrophe. At my friend's 18th about 10 years ago, I had stupidly mixed heavy alcohol with the medication I was taking at the time. I think it was fluvoxamine, for gad. I remember joking around with my friends one moment. Then the next I was cowering in the corner, tears streaming down my face with several worried friends around me. I snapped out of it with something like, "Oh, hey guys." Apparently I had been sitting in the corner screaming out the name and phone number of the guy I had a crush on at the time. Good thing he wasn't at that party. Woo. One of the girls at a party I was at had GAD and was on that medicine and had hurt her knee and was on Vicodin. She drank anyway. Had to chase her down the street. She thought cheaters were going to get her and eat her, and we were the cheaters. It was winter and 5 degrees out in the snow, and she was barefoot. And I happened to draw the sober straw that night. Fuck that girl. We locked her in the basement with her boyfriend the rest of the night with a gallon of water and Skittles, the only food we could find. I was about to get my tonsils out a few years ago. I'm 29 now, and my brother, who is on his way to prison as we speak, insisted on getting me shit-faced at least once before the surgery. So he proceeds to take me to all his spots, introduce me to his friends, all the while slamming Red Bull vodkas. At some point I black out, but vaguely remember a ratty strip club for a few seconds, and then waking up the next day. He told me that I got us kicked out of the shittiest strip club in the city by standing up and saying, "How much does it cost to fuck someone in here? Because I know that's how this works." I woke up in a police cell. When you wake up in a police cell with no recollection of what crime you have committed, you start to panic very quickly. I stood up and at that moment realized not only was I in a police cell, I was also naked. I put my clothes on and stood around waiting for someone to come and talk to me. A policewoman walks in smiling and eating a packet of crisps. She puts the crisps down and tells me to put my hands out so she can handcuff me. I do this while asking why I was here, to which she says, "You're about to find out." She walks me into a room with another policeman in it, who tells me to sit down and drink some water. He then tells me why I was there, which goes a little like this. I was walking home from a night out when I went into a small supermarket and proceeded to eat some olives. I don't even like olives, and some chocolate bread. I then picked up some chicken breasts and left with them, putting them in the bin outside the shop. As I was continuing my walk home, the policeman I was now talking to pulled up in front of me to arrest me, at which point I decided it would be a good idea to try and run away. I got about 10 meters before I ran into a bush and fell over. After he had finished, he asked if I wanted to see the evidence. I said yes. He then got up a CCTV image of me in the supermarket with a packet of olives in one hand, a big smile and a thumbs up with my other hand. I fucked up. Not much. Once I woke up after having a drinking contest with a 40-something punk rocker named Jake. I was 17 at the time and not much of a drinker anyway, so I was obliterated. No memory of the night before, except puking with Jake in the bushes in front of my friend's apartment, where I was staying for a week during a road trip. Check my social media. This was like 2000. So I checked my Oliver journal. There was a message from me to me. "Hey, I know you won't remember in the morning, but you had some pretty mediocre sex with a girl named April last night. You weren't any good in bed. Insert friend name. Walked in on you, but she's probably not mad you were fucking in her bed. Don't drink anymore. Apostrophe. Don't drink anymore." Oh man. How many times have I said that one? Bought tickets for a Black Eyed Peas concert. The show wasn't that bad. I especially liked the part where they went off the stage. A mate of mine caught a huge seagull and held onto it as it pecked the fuck out of his hands. Then threw it screeching through the door of the pub he'd just been kicked out of, and we bolted. We woke up the next morning and he says, "What the fuck happened to my hands?" I've no idea what happened in the pub, but I suspect it was quite amusing. I guess I've never tried to catch a seagull, but it can't be easy, can it? I'm more impressed, at least at first impression, that a blackout drunk man was able to catch a seagull. I once woke up on my friend's couch wearing the clothes she was wearing. Was the night before. A few minutes after I woke up, her boyfriend walked into the lounge room wearing the clothes that I was wearing. I did a tuck and roll out of a cab. Was it moving? Coming to a slow stop. I just had to go, I guess. High school graduation party. I was drinking liquor and had moved on to high proof moonshine when the police raided the party. I ran along with 100 or so other party goers, leaping over fences in the process to hide. Except when the police finally left, after issuing the people who stayed minor under the influence tickets, I didn't return with everyone else. Apparently I had kept running for miles. I have some tiny snippets of memories of hiding in shadows and ditches from police with flashlights, squad cars spotlights, and being yelled at to stop. But that's about it. I was found by pure luck 3 hours later, something like 12 miles away, when I apparently recognized the sound of a friend's aftermarket exhaust on a nearby road and burst out of the woods. To flag him down. Supposedly, not long after leaving the house, the cops had spread out and set up a perimeter around the neighborhood and were looking to catch someone in a blue collared shirt who had fled on foot and had outrun a number of officers and avoided several attempts at being corralled. I'm almost certain it was me. When I was found, I was covered in sticks, live branches, and dirt, and I had smeared mud on my shirt, face, arms, and in my hair as camouflage, and was completely and utterly incoherent. I had apparently attempted to make an impromptu ghillie suit while evading capture. I threw up in the backseat of my friend's car, promptly fell asleep, and had to be carried like a human couch up a flight of stairs. While being carried, I projectile vomited on the walls of the stairwell until my friends got me upstairs, where they immediately stripped me, put me in a cold bathtub, ordered me to bathe, helped me dry off, and then put me in bed. My mom was so happy that we actually had a DD for the party that she didn't give me any shit about it, though I never told her I turned into a blackout drunk version of Arnold at the end of Predator to run from the police. Other highlights include the guy who bought the kegs hiding inside the drop ceiling to avoid detection, another friend dislocating a shoulder in the initial fence jump immediately following the shouting of cops, students from another rival school showing up and discharging a gun in front of the house of kid who threw the party, who didn't even attend our school, being completely destroyed, and the one friend who didn't run, being put on probation and community service. When I was a freshman in college, I didn't know how to hold my liquor, and being a 5'2" tall girl, it hit me quicker than a lot of my friends. I remember nothing, but my friends told me they couldn't find me at a co-op house party and started freaking out. They found me on the front lawn having an in-depth conversation with a cop and a guy collecting cans. Apparently we were all laughing. The cop shook my hand and said have a great school year and left. and I promptly vomited into some bushes. I would give any amount of money to know what my blackout 18-year-old self was talking about and why the cop didn't charge me with an MIP. Generally speaking, in my experience, cops just don't care as long as you're not belligerent, trying to drive at a massive underage party, or causing a scene. They're probably not gonna bother. They know everyone drinks underage, especially at a college town. But if you're being good, they have better things to do than cite the drunk freshman who's only having a conversation. If you were yelling and screaming and trying to pick a fight, things probably would have been different. Yep. I was at Washington State during its heyday as a party school. The cops there were super cool. I was at a huge block party once and there were a cop hiding in an arborvitae, jumping out at obviously underage drinks and yelling gotcha, then giggling and climbing back in the shrub. If you aren't making a scene, like lighting a dumpster on fire and starting a riot after losing a football game, we won't talk about that, then the cops generally don't care. Too much paperwork. Edit. I turned my original post to a TL doctor and explain what happened. I was in my freshman year of college and 4 Locos were hot off the press. For a solid few months, my routine per game consisted of 1 to 2 4 Locos, and then I would usually top myself off with a few cold ones at the bar. I killed many brain cells and forgot too many nights that year. This one particular night was a Thursday, and we had a social event at this bar I'd never been to. I was an experienced drunk driver at the time, so I offered to drive the crew downtown for the event. When we got down there, the only place I could find parking was in the back of an alleyway next to some dumpsters behind the bar. I was drunk, so I just said fuck it and parked there. Had a great night and somehow get home. This was on a Thursday, so I go on to enjoy a couple more nights of blacking out and killing brain cells at a steady rate. Sunday rolls around and the partying was over. I wanted some non-shitty food, so I went down to the giant ass parking lot at my dorm complex and searched aimlessly for my car. It was nowhere to be found, so I went to the 4 to 5 other places it could be parked and still nothing. I start calling tow companies all around the city and none of them had it. Completely stumped at this point, I call the university police and report my car stolen. They give me a series of questions and emphasize the fact that no one steals a Wrangler. I insist it's stolen and assure them that Wranglers are bad as cars worth stealing. 6 weeks roll around. My car is reported stolen to insurance and the police. I'm shopping for a new car and am excited for the upgrade. At this point, everyone in my fraternity knows my car was stolen, but the older guys are wiser and tease me for losing it. I'm still convinced it was stolen. This Thursday our fraternity hosts another event at that same bar that I had only been to once before. I got blackout on 4 Locos and went to the bar. Outside I run into an older guy who says, "Isn't the car you lost a black Wrangler? I saw one in the back there." I'm pretty sauced up, so when he says that I go nuts. I sprint back there and sure enough, there's my car that had been missing for over a month. The back window was knocked down, interior ravaged, and a note left on the windshield asking me to move it. I'm all jacked up, so I completely forget why I was downtown in the first place and drive my car back to my dorm. As I'm driving back, I give my dad a call. He's happy to hear I found it, but tells me I'm an idiot, to not drive drunk, and to go to bed. The part one was dreading the most was telling the police. I sack up and tell them. They have me go into the police station for questioning. The officer sits me down and says, "Now, I'm going to ask you a question and I need you answer honestly. Alright. Did you have anything to drink the night your car went missing?" I reply, "Yes sir," and that was it. They let me go and my car was back in my possession. Likely tarnished by the city's homeless, but I still got it back. 2 morals of the story: don't drink 4 Locos and don't drive drunk. TL. Doctor, I lost my car. 6 weeks later, after already reporting it stolen, got blackout again and found it. We were having a pool party. I live in Brazil. A friend that lived in Europe brought her 80% alcohol absinthe. I had 3 shots of those, plus beers and shit. Last thing I remember was 10 AM. Fast forward to 8 PM. I'm alone, inside the pool, partying, just waving my arms in the air. No music playing, no one around. I stop, think about what I was doing, and realize everybody went to bed about an hour ago. Later, I'm told that, at noon, we ran out of ice. So someone offered to go buy some at the supermarket. I offered to go with him. Keep in mind I was only wearing my underwear, because I was in the pool. When we get there, he tells me to stay in the car, because I'm on my underwear. So, he enters the supermarket, and, after 5 minutes, he sees me, holding a bag of ice, in the cashier line, waiting for my turn, in my underwear. Everybody was looking at me, and I'm like, what a lovely day, not realizing what was happening. We buy the ice and leave. I left my friend at a party as he was hooking up with a girl. When she got so drunk she was lying on the floor and grabbing random guys' feet as they walked past and asking them if she was pretty. He settled for a bottle of vodka. He called me at 5 AM with this eternal phrase, "Hey, two midgets in a duster. I think I'm in a bit of a bind." He found himself driving 120 down a lonely, unfamiliar highway. As he was looking around for an idea of where he was, he veered off the road, taking out 7 wooden pylons, the meter-high wooden stumps that are supposed to stop people driving into a designated area, and came to a stop. I went to pick him up and found him asleep in the middle of a grass field about an hour's drive in the wrong direction from the party, in a car with no bumper and 3 flat tires. He still doesn't remember anything up until moments before veering off the highway. Edit. To clarify, I left the party and went home safely. I wasn't drinking. My friend left the party he had planned on staying the night at and getting into this mess. I danced twice at the bar and ripped a urinal off the wall on a dare. Don't recall any of it. Dancing one time is one thing, but twice? You're a madman. Not me, but a friend of mine said he got drunk and ate a shitload of salad, like non-stop, just devouring salad. The next morning he wakes up with heads of lettuce all around him, and he has no idea how they got there. A few friends and I traveled to Cleveland to see a show in a dive bar. After the show the crowd just left the bar, leaving pretty much just us and the band. So we ended up having a true rockstar night, boozing with one of our favorite bands. At some I hit blackout mode and suddenly woke up the next morning. According to my friends, I entered our hotel room and beelined for the bathroom. As soon as I hit the threshold I projectile vomited, hitting the ceiling, walls, shower, toilet, sink, you name it, I puked on it. They sat outside listening to me dry heaving for a bit. They said I eventually burst out of the vomit-coated bathroom, told them I wasn't finished, and left the hotel room. 5 minutes later I reappeared with bleach and paper towels and locked myself in the bathroom. When I came back out a while later I had completely detailed every square inch of the bathroom, like it was a crime scene cleanup, insisting that nobody but me should have to deal with other people's mess. I then passed out cold for 7 hours. 2. Doctor got shit-faced and puked everywhere. No one will ever know.